Guys, and welcome back to the Josh YouTube channel, where it's episode 2 of our we are ventures into looking ahead to the season coming ahead, and we've got Liverpool up next, and of course there's only one man for Liverpool, that is Doug from the Doug at Football Channel. It's a red background, red top, red overlay. I think we're ready to talk about Liverpool, aren't we?
I couldn't go any better, could I? Thank you very, very much for asking me to come on and give all things insight into all things Liverpool. Looking forward to it.
So this is episode 2. Obviously, we had Anton. We'll be talking about Leicester. That guy couldn't stop smiling after the FA Cup clip of play. Like the guy didn't stop smiling for about 20 minutes straight. So obviously moved that Champions League little bit there when you won the Champions League, beating Spurs, and obviously that probably gives you a bit of a smile too. Obviously, all the fact. Obviously, it makes you think. Just obviously before we get into Liverpool, it does make you miss those moments. The crowd, the players being able to be together with the crowd, singing, celebrating. Obviously, it's a shame that we didn't get. That last year, isn't it?
It is. But I suppose you have to say that things are definitely getting better. But yeah, those scenes from obviously Madrid, and then obviously you guys won it last year as well. So it's nice to get fans back into the stadiums, and I think the Euros has been a big success of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to obviously crowds coming back for sure.
So dive into this last season briefly to kind of just give us a bit of a template to work on. Last season was probably a bit of a tipsy-turvy season for Liverpool, safe to say. Cup competitions didn't go particularly well. It looked like you were destined to play Thursday night football, and then you're going, was it 11, 12 games unbeaten, or a ridiculous streak at the end of the season, and somehow finished third above Chelsea. So how could you sum up last season with all the injuries, with all the inconsistent results? How can you sum it up?
I think the good term to probably describe it is probably roller coaster. I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster. Like it was up, it was down. There's bumps and turns. In a roller coaster. It just felt like that. Started so well with with wins over obviously Leeds, yourselves, Arsenal, and it was starting to be very, very good. And then came the Aston Villa game, and then it just sort of went pear-shaped after that, because obviously Aston Villa lost 7-2, and then obviously Everton the 2-2 draw where we lost Van Dijk, and then injury problems just mounted up after that. Gomez, Matip, I never would have envisaged Liverpool having 22 centre back partnerships. I still look at that, and I just my mind just can't get past that. So, but yeah, to get third place was an absolute miracle, and yeah, it was 8 wins out of 10 games, and the only 2 draws that were not damaging in the end was the Newcastle game and the Leeds game, where everybody thought that basically that was just a friendly because of obviously what was happening at the time. So yeah, I'm glad to see the back of 2021. I'm looking forward to 21-22. That is for sure.
I'd say, were you happy with third place? Were you happy with third place then last season? Obviously, you lost to Madrid quite comfortably in the Champions League. Your cup runs didn't go particularly well. Obviously, you lost to United at Old Trafford in the FA Cup. Would you say third place, given all the injuries, was a successful season, or do you think you could have shown a bit more against Real Madrid?
I think third place in the end was probably the best we could hope for. I mean, Manchester United, as much as they had a very good season, they only finished 5 points above us. So they've had their best season for a long time, and yet we've only finished 5 points under them. So it just kind of shows how much we were tested and tried last season. I think big players like Reece Williams and Nat Phillips really stepped up to the plate. Reece Williams, fair play to the lad. He came from on loan from Kidderminster. He was on loan at Kidderminster last season, and then to be thrown into the deep end at Old Trafford against Manchester United, and everyone had written him off, and I was like, no, don't write him off. He's only young. And after that, he stepped up to the plate. We brought in Kabak, who was very, very good until obviously he got injured as well. So I think third place would have been the most we could have expected, and I'm just hoping that we go into this next season that we won't have those 6 home defeats in a row again, because that was awful. I mean, one of them was to Chelsea. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. But I think with fans back, I think we're probably in for a good season, hopefully.
That's very well said. So we're diving into obviously the transfer window, and obviously transfer, except for that kind of 1 year when he sent Alisson, Fabinho, and Navigator, you normally are quite quiet in the transfer window, so there isn't actually very much to kind of dive into here. But obviously, you've got a new centre back. You've got Canate, you signed it from RB Leipzig for £36 million. Do you think he's coming in to be a starter, or do you think he's coming in to be the third choice? Obviously, because you've got Gomez and Matip and Van Dijk, you've still got quality centre backs there. So, how do you think it's a matter of a good pre-season for him to get a starting place on the opening day?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a very, very important pre-season for him. But what I will say is, I don't think he'll start the season at Norwich. I think it'll probably be Van Dijk and Gomez. I think Klopp will continue with his, tried and tested, and I think he'll keep to that. So I think Konate might have to bide his time to get in the first team, but we don't want a situation that we had last season. That is for sure. So I think if you look at the the players that we've got at centre back, obviously Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip, Reece Williams, Phillips, as well. So I think if we can keep all them fit, touchwood, obviously, then I think Konate will have to bide his time, but I can see a lot more rotation this season. I think what happened. You saw what happened to Manchester United, where they didn't rotate as much. You've got obviously Bruno Fernandes, who looked really, really tired in the Euros. You had Marcus Rashford, who's now going to miss the start of the season as well. So I'm hoping that we don't have a similar situation that they had. So I can see a lot of rotation happening. And actually, there was talk that Alisson, Fabinho, for all the Brazilian players, are maybe coming back. I think it's the 2nd of August. So whether or not that's enough time to get them back in for Norwich is another statement. So I think you could potentially see a bit of a makeshift Liverpool team, potentially with Kelleher in goal. You could probably see Curtis Jones in midfield, and you might actually see Diogo Jota up front as well. So I think if we rotate well, then I think we'll definitely start well, hopefully.
I think I was looking at the Spain Olympic squad. Just when players come back there, Uni Simeon, Pau Torres, Dano Almolo, and can't say his name. The guy from Real Sociedad or Sarvel, I can't say his name. My pronunciation names are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all going to the Olympics too. So they've literally played their season, played the Euros, 2 weeks break, right back into the Olympics, and then right back into the start of the league season. Like that's insane. That's four of the Spanish squad that were in the Euros going to the Olympics, which is, but their squad, they're going to win the Olympics. Their squad's insane compared to the rest. Obviously, so in terms of everything else, it's just people coming back on loan. There's a couple of people I want to talk about. First of all, Harvey Elliott. Obviously, he's only 18 now, but he is extremely highly rated. I know Klopp is a big fan of him. I know he's very highly rated. He was signed from Fulham. The Scott Park gave him his Premier League debut. Obviously, he's going to probably go back out on loan next season. But in terms of a future at Liverpool, do you think that he could be one to maybe step up to Mane or Salah if they were to move on?
Well, according to reports, Harvey Elliott is actually in the first team. He's not been talked about going out on loan or anything like that. So I think you might see him get a few chances this season, especially with the African Cup of Nations coming up. I think you might see him into the Liverpool first team. Yes, obviously, when the window shuts on, I think it's the 31st of August. I think correct me if I'm wrong or that, but. When the window shuts and we still see Harvey Elliott at the club, I think you'll see him on the bench. He's a good option to come off the bench as well. And yeah, he's very, very highly rated. I absolutely adore him. I think he's a great young prospect coming through as well. And you know what? I think that as more as the window goes on, and there's been no interest from anybody. I think Harvey Elliott will be in the first team mix next season.
What about the next one? Our player who you signed, who apparently has good potential. Obviously, Van den Berg, who was on loan at Preston, 20 years old, Dutch. Now he has played a few times at the club, and in the League Cup and all. I know he was actually somehow he was hated on quite a lot for saying he's not good enough. He doesn't look he's got the potential. You know more about him than I do. So what do you think about Van den Berg?
He's been very good in the development squad as well. Some of the games he played at, I remember I think it was a 5-5 game against Arsenal. I think he came in for that, was heavily criticised, and then he's clearly not ready. He's clearly not ready, and I believe he's actually gone back to Preston on loan as well. So I hope he does well at Preston. I really do, but for me, I don't see a future for him, unfortunately.
Lloris Karius coming back from Union Berlin. Is he going to stay as the third choice keeper at all, or is he going to or is he being chucked out?
I would be very surprised if he is not a Liverpool player by the 31st of August. I would be very, very surprised. I think you'd be looking at about 1-2 million now. In all honesty, just get him off the wage bill. You have to feel sorry for him. It's not been a good time of it recently. Obviously he was at Union Berlin last season, didn't play many games, and then also he's also had private issues. I think he was pictured with a different woman as well. So something isn't right with Karius, and yes, he was treated really badly by Besiktas as well. So you would hope that he would get a move back to Germany. I think that's what he needs, is a move back to the Bundesliga, just to get his career back on track. So look, he sounds a lovely guy. But unfortunately, yeah, for me, he's just not Liverpool quality.
A player who I'm still interested used to have on your wage bill, Marco Grujic. He's now 25, kind of coming to the prime of his career. And I know you signed him. I remember when he signed him, people said that he's actually not a bad midfielder. He could do a job. But he's chucked on a loan at Porto. You don't really see him in the Liverpool squad. I know he played pre-season. He played pre-season 2 pre-seasons ago. It's just a matter of just trying to get the scalp of the books permanently, I guess, isn't it? Because
I think he's all but gone, in all honesty. There was rumours apparently Sassuolo want him to replace the outgoing Locatelli, I think. Porto have been wanting him as well. So yeah, I think Marco Grujic, first signing under Jurgen Klopp, I think he'll be gone. But I do like Grujic. I think he's a good player. He's a good up and coming player. Again, he won't get in ahead of a Fabinho, won't get in ahead of a Milner. I think his time at Liverpool is coming to an end.
So these next year are very, very interesting ones. Obviously, Minamino, obviously was signed in January, wasn't he? Two seasons ago. He hasn't really had a sniff. Divock Origi was still being picked over him. Even in the squad depth. He can play striker, he can play left winger, but he never got a sniff. I thought he had a good loan spell at Southampton. He's playing in a struggling side. I thought he still did quite well within a struggling side. He is wanted by West Ham. Southampton want him permanently. I think Liverpool are open to selling him for the right price, but it just seems like it makes real no sense to why you signed him just to let him go like that. He seems like he's got the potential to probably play for Liverpool.
I think when we signed him, 7.25 million at the time was a very, very good option to get him, especially because we were the first one to know about that buyout clause. Manchester United were prepared to pay about 20 to 30 million pounds for him. So the fact that we actually knew about his release clause was very, very impressive, and that came under the radar a little bit, because that was announced New Year's Day, I think it was, as well. But yeah, it just hasn't worked out for him at all. And as you say, Origi gets games ahead of him, so that you don't really have a Liverpool future ahead of you. But obviously, he is on the pre-season camp at the moment in Austria, so get a couple of games.
Unfortunately for Minamino, he will be even with Japan for the Olympics, which is potentially going to be costly for him, because He's gonna have to have a good Olympics to try and impress Klopp, or he's gonna have an incredible game against his Austrian side, whoever you're playing.
I know, yeah. So that is something else as well. So, but yeah, I think if the right deal is there, I think we'll get rid of him.
In terms of players that have already left the club, obviously Gini Wijnaldum, and you spoke about how upset you are about him leaving. I would say he just wasn't. I know contract negotiations were hard. I think maybe he was asking for a bit too much money than Liverpool wanted to give. It just seemed like both parties just couldn't come to the agreement. He's a big loss. Who do you think is going to fill Gini Wijnaldum's shoes in the team?
Well, every Tom, Dick, and Harry seems to be getting linked with our midfield. Jesus, like the amount of players I've seen: Renato Sanchez, Florian Neuhaus, Saul Niguez, Yves Bissouma, Nicolo Barella. I believe Locatelli's been mentioned there as well. Mental, absolutely mental. If I had to pick a name, I would probably say it's between Saul and Renato Sanchez for me.
Saul will be a very good player. I like Saul a lot. I think Saul's a really, really good midfielder. I literally love the guy. And then obviously Kabak. Kabak was literally only signed really because of the injury crisis that you had. Obviously the whole loan deal. I do believe Schalke tried to reduce the buy-in price for him, but Liverpool still said no because obviously Schalke want him off the wage bill because they've obviously got relegated. He isn't going to Marseille as originally linked. So I think it says a lot. Like even when you were asked to sign for, I think it was 8 million or something. I think was the link price, and Liverpool still said no.
8.65 million. Yeah,
I think it sums up Kabak's time at Liverpool if he's not even going to be taken for only 8.6 million.
Yeah, like I think with Kabak, I think he's had a very good time of it at Liverpool. Just unfortunately he came in at a time where we badly needed the centre backs, and to be fair, he did well in his 8-9 games that he played for us. Just unfortunately he got injured at the back end of the season, but he's got a bright future ahead of him. Only 21 years old, so I think he'll have a good career of it for sure.
So no player that isn't on this list. Harry Wilson, obviously still think stands still a Liverpool player. Obviously he's had a lot of loans. Decent. He's had 2 Bournemouth and Cardiff, 2 very good seasons. You're surely not going to loan him out one more time. Surely there's a set asking price for Harry Wilson. It's just a matter of what club can afford it now. Same as it was with Ryan Kent with Rangers.
Yeah, I think Harry Wilson will be gone. Apparently Benfica were being linked with him as well, and apparently Brentford are wanting him as well. So we can get between 12 and 15 million pounds, or something in between that. Then I think he'll be away.
All right, so that's all the players talking about. Is there in terms of like your own personal mind, is there any positions that you think Liverpool need to strengthen? If it's backups or starters, a striker. Now, obviously, striker as Chelsea and Manchester City are learning at the moment, striking a striker. There's not very many strikers going around, and if you have to pay for any strikers, you have to put a couple of hundred million in just to get the ears. Do you think Liverpool stick it out then with Bobby Firmino then, or do you think you maybe even go and try and sign like some half decent striker to give Firmino a bit of competition?
I think if Origi goes, then I think we'll definitely be in for a striker. I'm actually going to shock a lot of people here, but I think Tammy Abraham would be a very good option if Chelsea want to get rid of Tammy Abraham. If Chelsea will get rid of Tammy Abraham, I would take him to Liverpool in a heartbeat.
It's hard to see how Tammy Abraham has a future at Chelsea, though, doesn't it? It's very difficult. A very few clubs have been linked to him. West Ham, I know West Ham. Aston Villa, obviously, where he was in the Championship, had a good season with them. I think he would suit the Liverpool system very well. He's a good header for the ball. I think he would get onto the chance crosses very well. He's a good hold up. But would Liverpool be willing to pay the 40 million mark that Chelsea have got on him?
That's the problem there. You've just said that there are 40 million pounds. I honestly don't. I think. I mean, obviously we've been quoted. What is it, 70 million for Isaac as well. I mean, whoever comes in knows they're going to be back up anyway. There's no chance somebody's getting rid of a Salah, a Firmino, or a Mane, or even you've got Jota there as well. So yeah, remains to be seen with that one. But Origi is wanted. He is wanted by a few clubs. Celtic, Rangers, West Ham. I think Wolves were another one, and somebody in the Bundesliga, Mönchengladbach, I think, want Origi as well.
Something must be desperate to replace Wardland if they're going for Origi.
Yeah.
In terms of preseason games, I'm literally seeing how you don't really have many preseason games lined up, at least in terms of what Google's telling me. So they've got Mainz on Friday, the 23rd of July, and Hertha Berlin on the 29th. Who's this team you're playing? Are you playing a team in Austria, or is Mainz your first preseason game?
There is a game against an Austrian side, but it's 45 minutes, so I don't actually know what's going on with that. But yeah, Mainz, it's obviously Klopp's old club as well, so another good one to get our teeth into. Hertha Berlin, probably were very lucky to stay in the Bundesliga last season as well. So. And there has been talk about a potential Anfield friendly, but nothing's been decided there yet. So, yeah, two good games to get our teeth into, and hopefully.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised there is only two preseason games? Because Chelsea have 5. We've got one against Peterborough behind closed doors at the weekend. Then we've got a game in Dublin, a Dublin training camp. Then we play Arsenal, Spurs in a wee tournament thing, and then we play Bournemouth away. I know Man United have about 5 or 6 friendlies. Arsenal have a fair few friendlies. Obviously, they've already lost one against Hibernian, which was just absolutely hilarious. But Manchester City, but at the same time, Manchester City only have 2 friendlies. They're playing a charity match against Barcelona 2 weeks into the season in Japan, which makes no logical sense why you'd make your team go out of Japan for a charity match, but that's so be it. Do you think this maybe comes down to being scared of injuries or trying not to have Van Dijk play as much minutes? Do you think there's an element of the injuries that play a risk for only 2 friendlies?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we want to be in a situation that we were last season. Being down to the bare bones at the centre back. So yeah, I think it is a case of just seeing what people can do and laying off the injuries, I would say.
And so in terms of the season coming ahead, obviously Van Dijk's going to be back. Now, obviously, as we all know with the Achilles injury, we've seen it with a lot of players. Some players don't come back the same. Some players become extremely injury prone. But we'll say Van Dijk's going to be back there. Gomez will be back. You'll hopefully have a fully fit squad. You'll have some decent squad players on the bench next season. What is your expectations then for next season? Is it to fight with Manchester City? Is it would you like Klopp to maybe go for a domestic trophy this time around? Go for an FA Cup. As a Liverpool fan, obviously last season was difficult, but what is your expectations going into this season?
I think because of obviously being an August May season, it's it's getting back to a little bit of normality. I would like us to, challenge for the league. I think that's possible. I do think we'll get top 4 again. I do honestly think we'll get top 4. So top 4 finish, or at least if we can challenge Manchester City. It doesn't mean we can win it, but we can challenge it. That would be very, very good. Good run in the Champions League. I think that'd be great. If we could get quarterfinals again, that'd be great. And Klopp doesn't do cups, as we know, but maybe with a couple more signings, it could be very, very interesting. But
I think to be fair, the club, he did try to go for the FA Cup last year. Just the squad, like he had such a young. It wasn't like he played a weak team against Manchester United. It was just such a young team to what he had available at Man United. Like you probably could have bet Man United with your young team at Old Trafford in that game. I think Cavani just made. I think Cavani's experience against the 2 young centre backs made the wee difference in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'd hope to maybe challenge for the League Cup, FA Cup maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But I want us to challenge for the league. If not that, then obviously get top 4. That's the main thing for me. Champions League run. to get to round of 16, maybe quarterfinals as well. That'd be very, very good. But then again, it's the luck of the draw, isn't it? So it'd be interesting for that. But yeah, 26th of August, that's going to be very interesting, the Champions League draw. So looking forward to that one.
Talking about dates on the 28th of August at 5:30, you host, so it'll be a cheeky wee match preview between us two. For either Chelsea, obviously, you start off with Norwich and Burnley. Norwich and Burnley. That's two games to start off with before you play us. We probably won't even have a striker at that time. So, where do you think Liverpool's biggest weaknesses? Because you've got roughly the same squad as you did last year. I know you had injuries, but you know these players inside out. Do you think Mane needs to have a better season? Does Firmino need to find some goal scoring threat? Do you need goals from midfield? Where do you think Liverpool will need? Because this, you look at Chelsea. Chelsea are strong as hell under Tuchel. Probably will improve in some shit way or form with someone. Spurs under Nuno could be potentially a bit of a scare. United looking strong. City are obviously looking strong as they always do. So Liverpool are going to have to be at their utter best this year to be in the league race. So where do you think Klopp needs to maybe look at some areas to improve?
I think we need right back cover, because obviously if Neco Williams goes, I think we're struggling at right back, because then you'd have to play James Milner, you'd have to play Fabinho. I don't think Fabinho will play right back. Goals from midfield, we really lacked goals from midfield last season. I think that's a big certainty as well. But the one thing I will say last season is that obviously we didn't have Van Dijk and we didn't have Gomez. I think Van Dijk's balls straight out to Robertson and then straight out to Trent. I think that's what we were missing last season. We were kind of trying to force the ball a lot and try to pass it through midfield a lot. So I think badly need a striker. Badly need a striker. The goals dried up last season as well. Mohamed Salah was really carrying Roberto Firmino and Sadio Mane. So, yeah, I think a lack of goals and the lack of goals from midfield is definitely our weakness. And I do worry about our right-hand side because, Trent, as we say, is not the best defensively. And then you've got, Gomez, who will be coming straight back in as well. So it could take Kanai a bit of time to get used to the Premier League as well. So I'd say our right-hand side is one weakness. I would also say goals from midfield. We really lack goals from midfield. And actually, we hardly score corners now. We need to score more corners.
What about? I have to ask you because obviously I'm a Chelsea fan. Everyone I'm getting on the channel. I want to ask him briefly about Chelsea. So I asked the same questions to everyone I asked the same questions to everyone. So the first of all is because I have seen this as a debate on Twitter ever since the Champions League final. Maybe it's just salty Chelsea fans. I don't know. Salty Spurs fans. I don't know. Do you think Chelsea, taking the striker thing out of it for now, just the overall squad? Do you think Chelsea are a genuine threat to the title race in terms of being a very competitive team, or did Thomas Tuchel have a purple patch where he came in, everything was ticking for him? There wasn't much time on the training pitch to kind of analyze the way Chelsea were playing, or do you generally think that this Chelsea team under Tuchel could be a genuine scare if Kai Havertz and Timo Werner and Ziyech maybe start finding their form, which they struggled to find last season?
On the purple patch, I think Tuchel did very, very well coming in at a time where you needed a new manager. I never thought Frank Lampard was the right man for Chelsea in the first place. I do think you can challenge City and Liverpool, and I think well, I'm not going to put. Will I put Man United in there? I mean, if they get Sancho, if they get Varane, and I think they might definitely be potential title chances. But then again, you've got worry about Ollie. So I do think Chelsea are a threat, but I would worry. They do go on a run, and then like against Aston Villa, there's just something goes wrong. Something goes wrong. So you always have a bit of a weird result there and then. So
Arsenal have Stamford Bridge too. Smith Rowe getting the winner.
Prime example. So I think you'll be able to challenge for the league, But I think top four would be definitely your priority. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season. I think you will definitely be title challengers.
Well, when you look at our squad, striker's the only position you could say. Goals, you've got Mendy and Kepa. Petr Cech's the third choice goalkeeper. He's starting the friendly at the weekend behind closed doors. Centre backs is perfectly okay. I don't. Kurtzuma potentially is leaving, but we do have. I know Ethan Abbott. If you think you know Ethan Abbott, I think he'll be Kurtzuma's replacement. Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante in the middle, Azpilicueta, James on the right, Joe Alonso on the left. Attacking players are still fine, but obviously Giroud's away to AC Milan for 1 million. Obviously Reece is very, very happy with that. Tammy Abraham, clearly Thomas Tuchel has something with Tammy Abraham he doesn't like. I think it's the work rate of Tammy Abraham, but Tuchel wasn't the biggest fan of. And obviously, what do you call it? Farner isn't seen as a striker by Tuchel. He played a lot more as an attacking midfielder, and one of the 10 rather than the out and out 9. And you can't really trust Kai Havertz to play as a false 9 every game because, as Pep Guardiola found out, the false 9 doesn't always particularly work. So Chelsea need a striker. We're not going to Harry Kane. That's either City or Spurs for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And now you think you're on Twitter, so you would have probably seen all the Haaland updates today. It looks like Haaland has officially been shut down today. It looks like Dortmund have refused to sell him for even if Chelsea offered 150 million. So Chelsea are in a bit of Chelsea have left it very late. Very, very late. Pre-season has begun. The season isn't too far away, so Chelsea may have to start doing a bit of panic buying here to get a striker in the door.
That's not good. That's not good. You should have someone lined up. But yeah, I mean, Giroud going, I think that's been on the cards for a while. But at least he went on a high, winning the Champions League. That was the main thing. Yeah, you might have to start Kai Havertz there, possibly.
But it's not good because Chelsea, City are in the same boat as us. City need a striker too because they're going into the season with Gabriel Jesus up front, which that's just a recipe for disaster. And Kai Havertz can play false 9. Obviously, he played false 9 against City, and look what he did. Crystal Palace, he had an absolutely incredible game against Crystal Palace. So he can play there, but a false 9 doesn't work every game. And when you're playing against teams that sit very deep, you need a big focal point up there. And Tuchel by just having to bite the build and Tammy Abraham, I think that's probably what will happen. I don't think anyone's going to pay the 40 million for him, especially when he actually is a free agent in next summer. This is his final year of his contract. So I think Tuchel might bite the bullet on Tammy Abraham, or otherwise Chelsea are going to have to do a Leicester and maybe look in some unknown markets and try and pick up someone because I don't think we can challenge for the title without a proper striker at the club. If Werner starts scoring like he did in the Bundesliga, we would be okay. But you can't put your hopes up because you can't expect him to go from what he was last season to what he was at Leipzig. It'll take a big boost for that. I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. This is the final question I have, and this is the question that I'm asking everyone straight off the bat out of the blue. It's nothing to do with Liverpool, nothing to do with Chelsea. Which manager do you think will be sacked first next season? I've got Dean Smith for Aston Villa.
I'm going to go for quite an obvious one.
The Watford manager?
Cisco Munoz.
Is he the Watford manager?
He is a Watford manager.
Everyone's very
They are not ending the season with one manager. Not a chance.
Does that have Nigel Pearson sacking still make any sense to you from when they were in the Premier League?
No. No. I don't think they would have gone down if they'd kept Pearson either.
They were really close to being Arsenal at the Emirates on the final game of the season. They probably would have needed a bit of an experienced manager instead of chucking in the academy manager in a relegation situation. They said to sack Nigel Pearson. I don't.
Yeah.
It's just like, but you think the Watford? I think Dean Smith. Because I think they'll lose Jack Grealish. I think to Manchester City. And I think they will massively struggle. And Dean Smith's Aston Villa defensively are quite a shambles. And I feel like Jack Grealish, when he was injured last season, you've seen how massively Villa dipped. And I think compared to the expectations he set last season, I think he I think if they have a really bad start, I think maybe down in the bottom half, I think he could potentially go before the Watford manager. Also, what about Patrick Vieira? He's got a tough task on his hands. He's lost half of his squad. They've signed 2 players. Mark Gucci from Chelsea is joining Palace. They're going to have a very young squad next season. Not many Premier League experienced players. A manager who's utter bang average. Palace, at least for me, I know I'm kind of doing it a bit early, but Palace are very close to the bottom 3 in my table prediction so far.
They are going to be a very interesting Palace, I think. Look, I think Patrick Vieira is a ballsy move. I think that's a ballsy move from Steve Parish. I don't like the fact that they've got like half a dozen players out of contract. But obviously Joel Ward signed up again. But it's all about keeping Zaha for me. It's been every single time I've said it with Palace. If they keep Zaha, then they stay in the league. If they don't, if they sell him on in the summer, I would worry for them. Especially with not having Eze either.
Well, Nuno at Spurs, obviously he's got the easiest competition in the world to win the European Conference League. If he doesn't win that, honestly, Spurs will never win a trophy, and he'll probably be sacked alone if he doesn't win that. It's an interesting one. We don't know if Harry Kane's going to stay. I think City are going to have to offer a shit ton of things to get Harry Kane into Manchester. Nuno said his style's like Jose Mourinho, so you don't really understand why would you say Mourinho to bring Nuno in when they're very similar in their philosophies and their ideas. So you don't know. I don't know what to expect from Spurs. I generally don't know what Spurs are going to offer on the table next season.
They're a mess. They've been trying to get Jules Koundé for about 4 weeks now, and the player doesn't want to go. Doesn't want to even go there. So, yeah, I think I did read apparently Spurs want Danny Ings to appease Harry Kane to keep him staying. I mean, if you sign Danny Ings, I'm sorry, but that's not keeping Harry Kane at the club. So yeah, I think it could be a long summer for Tottenham. Could be a long season as well. Nuno, good luck to him. I think if he can get Doherty playing, then that could be very interesting, because I don't think Sergio is going to start ahead of Doherty.
Well, my final one to you is, because this is on the 2 people I spoke to. Well, the people I spoke to yesterday when I was doing the Blue podcast, and then while speaking to Anthony earlier, a lot of talk about Arsenal. He thinks Mikel Arteta this is Arteta's season. He's going to be gone after this. Obviously, they're doing the all or nothing on Amazon this season, which is going to be amazing. Like, I can't wait to see Arteta in the dressing room trying to give team talks. Like, it's going to be absolutely hilarious, especially with all their banter results that will be coming up. They've obviously they kind of struggle against High Birmingham, which is quite embarrassing, especially when Arsenal actually had quite a good team out. The Arsenal, I spoke to the Arsenal fan Cam on the Blue podcast. He actually literally, as an Arsenal fan, says their hope for next season is push for the top 6. It's not top 6, it's push for the top 6. So Arsenal, man, do you think Arteta, this is it? This is Arteta's going to get sacked this season at some point? Because it looks like he's got an impossible task to try and make his Arsenal team look good.
I think the fact that they've not got European football is going to be a massive help. But yeah, then again, I worry for Arsenal. I really, really do. I actually think they'll be lucky to get top 10 as it stands.
Arteta would be sacked. He would be sacked halfway through the season. Yeah. But obviously, I hope everyone's enjoyed this beautiful little chat with me and Doug. I've had obviously very exciting news that the World Football podcast returns very, very soon. I think like 3 weeks until it returns on Doug's channel. It's going to be the table predictions, which is going to get that's going to be very interesting. Me and predictions don't go very well, as we know from my World Cup, my Euro quarterfinal predictions. I literally got one right, which was not very good. But of course, if you're interested in checking out Doug's channel, links will be in the description. His Twitter is in his wee name there. He posts a lot on Twitter. He uploads a lot. His prediction videos are top notch. He's a very, very heavy Liverpool fan, and just saying, never go into Doug's Twitter if you're Klopp out, because last season we found out that those people are not very welcome on his Twitter, are they, Doug?
Exactly.
So if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, check out Doug's channel. Doug recently hit 1.3k, so we're going to try and get him to 1.4k. He's going to have 2k subscribers by the end of the year. That's we're all, the whole football community is going to make sure. And if you hit 2k subscribers, Doug, have you got any special video ideas already lined up, or is that too long away?
No, had a thought about that yet.
Doug, thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate
Pleasure.
it. So thank you everyone, and I will be back with the next one, which I believe is the South Pride of London, where we will be talking about Crystal Palace. That will hopefully be out on Wednesday. So I'll be very interested in that one, Doug, won't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see you then, guys. Bye bye.
Why do you let us hurt one another just for the dollar? Did you lose your heart in the darkness deep in your pocket? No, I don't care of the price I pay. I don't wanna spend my life that way. Tell me, is the pain that you're causing worth what you profit?
Yeah, I know that money don't buy happiness, but buys you more material shit. And reworking how I think and what it means to be rich. I used to think it meant to flex, so Rolex on my wrist. Feels bad to take more than you give. Lately hate how we live. I never wanna become the things that I hate. With a man in the mirror with laugh and spit in my face, and tell me that the money is maybe another fake. I've been drowning in my mind and my money's been adding weight. Oh Lord, please save me. I should've known that something man-made couldn't make me. I say I'm making music, or is music what creates me? I never have an answer, same question every day. See, when we pass on, all our things are passed on to the next. Everything we didn't do is everything we regret. Every day we fucking work for this worthless check. If you're not happy, you're forever in debt. You're forever in debt.